This is Coach Q, and you're watching the Rockin' Hockey Show.
This is Rockin' Hockey!
Hi, I'm Ivan, and this is the Rockin' Hockey Show.
Hey, welcome to the Rockin' Hockey Show, and our first and maybe our only fire table hockey talk this year, because our ODR, as you can see, is seen better days. Yeah, it looks like it's melting away here, but we're sitting here at center ice, and the funny thing is, this is the funny thing, is it's going to be 50 today. It's mid-March,
Yeah.
and there's ice right now, but when we want to skate, there's no ice. How does that happen?
I'm not a geophysicist, but I can help you with that. It's cold fronts, warm fronts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cold front, warm front every other day. So there's actually was quite a bit of water underneath, which didn't support us hard. So I drained it, and
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
we're moving on. It's time to wrap up the old ODR and start thinking about. Well, look I got my Tigers. Baseball season, golf.
You gonna watch tonight? WBC, or are you going? You're going to the game.
I'm going to Sabres game tonight,
Sabres
so
game.
I'll be at Sabres game tonight against a barn. It should be a barn burner against Nashville. So
Yeah, Nashville. You know. Both teams like to score. They don't like to play defense,
Yeah.
but they both like to score. So.
What's defense?
I know.
As you can see, we're both rocking our Rockin' Hockey merch here, which you can buy at shinnyhockeyco.com. I'll put that right there. Actually, you'll read it this way, Arj. That way, not the other way. And you got your Shinny Hockey Co hat on.
Yeah, I'm
Rockin'
actually
Hockey.
pretty warm right now. It's not 50 yet, but I'm pretty warm.
Not
Feel
50,
good.
but the sun is about to come through the trees, and it will be 50 today and tomorrow.
So
And
with the end of the ODR season,
no rocking the rinks this year. Not
yeah,
even a
not
one.
even one. And but it's kind of one of those things where you get your backyard back, but you.
Well, I always love spring, but I love a winter that goes before spring, and we really didn't have it. I did go tubing the other day, so we got that, checked that one off. Only got a couple runs in of skiing this year. I'm hoping maybe to get one more skied in because the temperatures are good enough, but looking forward to spring, and I completely forgot what I was just going to say.
So
Arj.
what do you think are going to be some of the improvements for next year?
Oh, I know what
ODR?
I wanted to say. Well, yeah, I'll get to that in a second. I want to send our condolences to our good friend Mark Graff, who has the most magnificent ODR in Rochester anyway. I don't know about all around, but expanded it this year as the beautiful boards.
I wonder how many days he actually got to skate on that.
Bought a Zamboni, and him and I were texting multiple times about getting over there, and it just never materialized because his son Colin, who only weighs about 60 pounds, was able to go on it, but nobody else was. And,
full size, half a size rink. Actually, it's probably what 2/3 of a full rink.
Yeah, I forget what the dimensions were, but I know it's big. It's well over 100 feet long.
Yeah, it's big. I mean,
he said full boards, corners, a whole 9 yards, and a Zamboni yard. So yeah, our condolences go out to Mark Graff. Tough year. We'll get him next year, buddy.
Yeah. So you got any improvements going on at the for the ODR for next year here for your rink? You got anything in the works?
The only thing I'm going to do better is prop the boards. As you can see, they're all slightly angled backwards because of the freezing and thawing of the ice.
Yeah.
And because of the ground, the stakes that I have, which normally should be strong enough to support it, are constantly moving. And eventually the water, because there's quite a bit of water, pushes it back. So I propped supports against the trees to keep them from going any farther back. So next year I have to find a way to do better supports because I have to just anticipate that it's going to freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw.
Well, the ground never even really froze.
And the ground does not freeze, so therefore the stakes really don't serve much of a purpose.
Yeah. So it's a tough season all around.
Tough season all around.
I mean, your neighbors are probably happy. I mean, the shed.
Well, they might be. They're not going to find as many pucks laying around. And
the shed didn't have me smoking it this year.
Yeah, the shed. Yep.
Actually, the shed came out pretty good, Dave. You did a good job there.
No, yeah, the double-decker shed. Seen, knock on wood, no RJ slap shots through that this year. The neighbors didn't get many pucks in their lawn, and I did add more lights this year, so the neighbors are probably happy that the lights aren't on from 10 o'clock at night till probably 1 o'clock in the morning when the kids are out skating. But so that's anyway, that's it. Just better support for the boards. But other than that, I really don't plan on doing much more. It's not much more I can do. It's with the short season. It's not worth it to do more because of like this year, where I think we skated maybe 5 times.
Now, what about your brothers? Did they get any? Does Pat put up a rink?
Pat puts one up, and I think they
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, I think he skated a handful of times. Tony, I think, put one up, but I don't know if he ever got on his. To be honest with you, I think it won snow and slush, and he just never recovered from it. Because here's the deal: if you don't, whenever it happens, which happens frequently, you have to go on it immediately, even if it leaves huge footprints. You have to get that stuff off, and it'll eventually recover. Usually takes a couple days and some skates, but
But because like we have a natural pot where we'll skate on every now and then. Where we only got to play blue hockey on it this year. We didn't get a skate, and but as soon as you get like on a natural pot, as soon as you get snow on top, it'll push the water up through the ice and everything like that. The extra weight. And
that's why we get the slush, because if it's not frozen all the way through, even a little bit of snow, which does not seem heavy, Art.
Yeah.
When it's covering a surface of 70 by 30, it gets pretty heavy, I guess, and it pushes the water up, and that's creates a mess. So,
well,
anyway,
there you go. That's some tips for ODR season, right there.
Move to a more a colder climate.
Yeah, Alaska.
Well, yeah.
Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Thunder Bay.
So there you go.
There you go, Arj. So, listen, I'm super excited, and I'll be the one to blame here. We got a couple shows coming out any day now. I know I've been telling Arj that, but we've got a great show. It was on our podcast with Kevin Wall, and the YouTube show's coming out any day now. And I was saying in the as you see in the YouTube show in my intro, what a great interview, and I keep going back to that. That was by far, I think, our best interview. Not because it was Kevin Wall, but just because of the fact that his old coach and instructor called in, and we had Churchy call in, and we just discussed in great detail skill development, putting your time in, thinking ahead, like Coach Guck would say to Kevin Wall when he was 8-9 years old. I'm doing this for you, not for this year, but for 10 years down the road when you're ready to play juniors or college hockey, that what I'm teaching you now is going to come back and help you. And I thought that was just a great lesson, but it's great foresight by a coach. And we also talked about with Brian and Coach Brian and Kevin and Churchy about the impact that coaches have on players, whether they know it or not, the great impact. And sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. And Churchy made a great point that most of his memories from coaches when he was growing up were, at the time, a negative event, but influenced him positively later on in his life, whether it was right after or when he became an adult. He thinks back about the lessons learned from sometimes negative.
You think about that with coaches, like the number of players that we know that probably had like a former coach at a wedding, or grow up and end up playing men's league with a former coach. I had last night we had our final night of adult league on Monday, and one of the guys sat down and we were just talking afterwards, and he looked right at me and he goes, "Your goalie was my coach." He goes, "And now I'm playing against him." He goes, "It's like it's a weird scenario." He goes, "But it's awesome." He goes, "I'm glad he's still playing." And that's the thing, is these guys appreciate it, and then they see him upstairs in the bar and they end up reminiscing. And it's not just hockey; all sports are like that. I'll be honest.
Good life lessons.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. When I was younger, I had a coach that really turned me off from one sport, and I ended up playing a different sport in that same season, so I didn't miss out on playing a sport. But like, I look back and I'm like, man, I was halfway decent at that sport. I wish I would have stayed with it, but it was one of those things where like it was just like one of those things where my parents saw I was miserable and they're like, "Hey, why don't you go try this sport?" And I was happy. So.
Well, it's being as coach as many teams as I have in hockey and even in baseball. But I just remember I think it was 2 years back, I was coaching 2 teams at the AAA level, and they were both decent teams, but not great teams. And we played a pretty competitive schedule. And I know that both teams were frustrated because we weren't winning a lot. But I said, guys, listen, what I'm trying to teach you is to be competitive.
Yeah.
How to play or how to compete at a higher level. And I said, this will help you in everything you do in life. not just win this game, but I said it's going to help you later on when you get a job or try to go to college or whatever, or when you have kids. I said, what I'm trying to teach you right now is that you can't just give a good effort. You got to give a great effort, and you got to give whatever effort it takes to get you where you want to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? You might think you're giving a great effort, but it's not enough for whatever it is you're trying to do. And in your job, you may think you're doing a great job, and all of a sudden your boss says, "What the? You know, I need better out of you. You got to get better." That's just the way life is, man.
Well, yeah, and I talk to my kids and other kids about this too. Is like, especially at like a modified sport level, let's say, because there's no cuts there.
Right.
But you get to. Some kids get really frustrated and want to stop after a week or two of trying a new sport, and they get frustrated. I'm not good. I'm not this. The reason they have modified sports is so you can at least try it for the whole season. And if you give up as soon as you get adversity, that, as I used to tell my kids, that'll make you want to, the next time you have adversity, well, I just stopped the last time. Why can't I just stop this time?
Yeah.
Why can't I stop the next time? Why, So I'm not saying that you stick with something that you hate your whole life, but just push through that one time.
Yeah, you can't hate something. Yeah, if you don't like something, then you shouldn't be doing it. But
right, but you push through that one time and finish it off as that season. Then all of a sudden you might look back and go, you know what, that wasn't as bad. I'm not going to do it next year, but it wasn't so bad, and I know I could push through it. I mean, it's that way with all of us, I guess. So,
such is life, Arch, and those are the lessons from the Rock and Hockey Show. You learned
we learned ODR and life lessons all at the same time. So
I feel like I'm up on my soapbox right now, pontificating. But Arch, I forgot to mention, I'm rocking my Howie's hat. Our good friends at Howie's Hockey, rock on, and our good friends at Trotta, and also I want to welcome our good friends from True Hockey and our friends from Pirani's Hockey World. So I think that covers all our good friends out there.
Sounds like it.
Hey, signing off from the 2023
ODR
season. Thanks for watching the Rock and Hockey Show.
This is the Rock and Hockey Show.
Spring break 2023.
This is the Rock and Hockey Show.
This is Rock and Hockey.